Hi guys, so the last few weeks here have been both eventful and uneventful. For those of you that don't know, our dog Shuey had spinal cord surgery about 3 weeks ago. He's still recovering and on limited activity, but he's doing phenomenal. He's walking around, eating, drinking. He's not allowed to play yet, but he is doing so much better. And I will show you guys Shuey and update you at the end of the video, but it's also been uneventful in the garden and in the kitchen because Shuey's required 24-hour round-the-clock watching, so I haven't been able to really do anything. Mo watched him a little bit so I could come out here one day and plant a tree, but other than that, like my seedlings need to be repotted. I haven't started tomato seeds, and I want to do zinnias and sunflowers from seed. So today we've got quite the mishmash of projects to get done. But before we get into all of the repotting and seed starting again, let me show you what I was able to come out here and plant. The second weeping Colorado blue spruce I was able to get in the ground a couple weeks ago. It's on the other end of the conifer garden slash pollinator bed. We've got the first one right over here, and here's our other one. And it's actually doing really well. It's starting to put on a bunch of new growth, and it is shaded here until about noon, but after about noon, 12:30, this area gets pretty much hit with full sun until about 6:30, 7 o'clock. So it should be happy here. Let me show you our other one. Look at this one. This has put on so much new growth. Look at that. They're so soft when they come out, but look at all of that new growth. This one is really loving its spot. And our salvias are in bloom. We've got our cat's pajamas, nepitas, they're blooming. Don't they all look so pretty? We've also had a few deliveries here, and we've got some fun things to get in the ground this season. So we've got 4 rising sun redbuds here, and if you guys have never seen a rising sun redbud in all its glory, I'm going to put a picture up because it is such a beautiful sight to see. It is so bright and colorful, and when I saw it, I fell in love with them, so I had to get some. We've also got a dwarf mugo pine over here, which I've had for a few weeks, but it's putting on some new growth, and I would like to get this in the ground. And I picked this up, this Japanese dwarf pagoda holly, which I think is just so interesting looking. So I picked one of them up when I was out and about yesterday, and I just got to find a spot for it. We've also got some blue rug junipers here, which I'm going to be popping in some of the beds this season because I really want to step up my ground cover game. And we wintered over this dwarf lilac. I also found cat's pajamas nepeta in quart-sized containers, so I picked up a flat of that as well. Aren't they beautiful? So we have had some activity over here, not as much as I'm used to, but any little bit makes me happy. But now let's get into our first project because I really need to get these seedlings out of their seed cells and potted up because they are way too big and they are definitely stressed a little bit and needing their own containers. I've got my little laboratory all set up on the patio. I've got our 2 seedling trays here. This is our pepper tray and our celery tray. We've got jalafuegos over here, Armageddon peppers, which are being buried between the jalafuegos and these mystery peppers over here. This was a random pepper mix that was given to me with one of my orders. And then we've got celery over here, which I'm gonna try and separate them. Celery doesn't really like to be messed with. Their roots are pretty delicate, but I'm gonna try it. If not, then I'll just come in and thin them out. And in this tray, we've got our 1 Meyer lemon that came up and 2 rows of key limes. So I've got 24 key lime plants here, which I really don't need that many. I don't have room for that. I don't have a whole orchard in the backyard over here. So most likely I will be giving a lot of these away. But for now, they do need to get potted up because most of them are putting on a lot of growth. They look really good too. They look really healthy. Their leaves are a nice deep green. Some of them are a little chartreuse, but they will perk up even more once they're in their own home. I've got our potting mix over here. I've got a whole bunch of different 3 and 4 inch size containers over here that we're going to use to pot them up in. I've got our tongs to help us get these seedlings out of their cells. And if we do some trimming or thinning, I've got a new pair of Felco trimmer snips that I get to try out. So I'm excited about that. So when we're done with this project, we're gonna have a bunch of plants that need to go back under the grow lights for a few more weeks. And I was pretty maxed out on space already. So I had to move a bunch of the plants out from under the grow lights and kind of put them all around the house. But I didn't have any glazed terracotta saucers, and terracotta is very porous. So if you put an unglazed saucer on a piece of wood furniture and you leave a little bit of water in there, it's gonna leach to the other side and you're gonna end up with a water stain, and it's gonna damage your surfaces. Now, I did a whole video on glazing terracotta saucers. I will put a link in the description box below if you want to check it out. But it is a very inexpensive way to protect your surfaces. It doesn't take much to do this project too. I just used the Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover Clear Gloss paint, a paintbrush, and these are the terracotta saucers that I glazed. And you can kind of see, you can see inside where it's all shiny, that's the glaze. I didn't do the bottoms, there's no need to. So when water sits over here, it stays here. It doesn't leach out onto the bottom and then damage your surfaces. Quick, inexpensive, and very, very handy. Okay, so now let's get into repotting. First, we're going to get our soil ready. We're going to pre-moisten it a little. After you pre-moisten it, this is what you want it to look like. It holds its shape, but it's not dripping any water out. Perfect. Our soil is ready, so now I'm going to show you how I'm going to transplant a few of these, and then we will just speed it up and get them all done. So we're going to start with our lime seedlings, and I'm going to use my seedling tongs. These are from Gardener Supply. They are specifically designed for the Grow Ease self-watering seed starting kits. They fit them perfectly, and what these are designed to do is to insert them down into the cell, squeeze them, and lift the entire cell up, and it doesn't damage the root system. So we've got our seedling cells over here, and what I'm going to do is just gently separate them apart. And then we have 2 seedlings that we can plant up. We're going to fill our containers with our soil, just tamping it down a little. You don't want to pack it in too much. You definitely want to leave it nice and lofty so the roots can spread and grow easily without too much restriction. And that'll be good. We don't have to top them up all the way. Remember, these are just temporary. And then we'll just make a well for our seedlings with our finger. It's a few inches deep. And we've got our 2 seedlings. And we'll just take one, pop it right into the hole, cover it up, and at the end we'll water it in. Take our other seedling. It's got a nice root system on it. I'm very happy. Plant it down, get it nice and seeded. And then we'll take our tongs, take another cell out. Beautiful roots. They're nice. They're all the way down to the bottom. They're white and they just look so healthy. Separate them. And we'll take one, pop it in, backfill it up, get it nice and snug. There it is. And add a little more soil to this one. Perfect. There they are. Okay guys, we got the lemon and all the key lime seedlings repotted. I did have to get rid of a couple of the key lime seedlings. They were just scrawny and too weak. So I ended up with 22 key limes and 1 lemon. And here they all are. They are looking really healthy. Actually, there are a couple I just noticed that have 2 seedlings in each. Oh, actually that's just, nope, that's 2 too. Okay, so we did end up with 24, but I don't need 24, and so I'm going to show you guys how to thin them out. Okay, we're gonna bust out our new Felco snips. Ooh, they're so shiny. Not for long. These are great. Okay, so for thinning, what you want to do is you want to go in and you want to find the strongest of the 2 plants. It doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest. You want the one that has the prettier leaves, the stronger deep colored leaves, and you want to find the weaker one. Come down, I'm going to pick this one to get rid of. This one is looking nice and healthy. They both are, but again, I don't need 25, 26 lemon or lime trees. So you want to come in here, go all the way down to the base and just snip it off and discard that. And what you're left with is 1 plant per pot. Here's another example. I've got another one here with 2 seedlings in here, and I'm going to keep this one and discard this one. So I'm just going to come down to the base and just snip it out. Now we're going to move on to the peppers. It's the exact same process, and then once we get to the celery, I will stop and we'll kind of dive in a little deeper and see if I can separate some of those celery plants or if I just need to thin them down to like 1 or 2 each. All right, guys, we got everything potted up except for the celery. I'm gonna try with one cell to separate them, but the thing with celery, their root system is very fragile. So if I'm not able to separate them, I'm gonna go in and thin them. And I know it may seem a little wasteful, and I did plant them a little heavy because the celery seeds are very, very small. So I just kind of scattered some in and figured, well, just see what happens. And almost all of them germinated, so we've got quite a few plants in each cell. But I'm gonna try to separate them. If I can't, then I will thin them out, and I'll probably take them inside and start hardening them off for a few days, because I do want to get them planted out in one of the raised beds. But we're supposed to be getting like 85 degree weather for the next few days, and we've been in the 60s, so that's quite a jump. So I will do what I can with the celery, bring it back inside, and then every day I'll introduce them to a little bit of sunlight. I'll start with maybe an hour or two of morning sun, bring them back in, and then just gradually increase it over the next few days until maybe the weekend, and then where I can come out and just put them in the ground and they won't scorch or burn. That's hardening off. All right, so let's dive right into this and see what the celery looks like. Okay, let's start with one cell. And there are, oh my God, there are so many celery plants in this. It may be not even worth it to try and separate them. I did water them in just now, so that should help in separating them. But again, we'll just kind of take it nice and slow. So that's one. That's another. And these are really intertwined. Let's try. See if we can't get this. You know, they are coming out, but they are tearing some of these roots up. So I'm going to scratch that. We are going to thin them. Okay, so the purpose of thinning is to alleviate a lot of the competition that's going on in this cell, because there's several different plants in here, each with their own root system, and they're all fighting for the same nutrients and water and space. So they're going to crowd each other out. So what we need to do is eliminate all of the weaker ones. Now I know some of these are flopping over, but there is a sturdier one right in the center. But see, they kind of get all tangled up in each other as well. So you want to find the weaker ones and just take your nippers right at the base and just nip it and remove it. We'll get rid of that one. And again, I did plant this quite heavy. But see how they kind of get tangled up in each other? And you can see the base is too weak. This one I am going to keep, even though it is flopping a little bit. It's right in the center. Actually, take that back. I'm going to keep this one and get rid of this one. This one has a much thicker base, and I can recenter it in the new pot. Okay. So now we can just take our tongs, lift up, look at that root system. I'm just going to pot it up in here. There we are. All right, I'll show you one more. See if we can't get these separated. Okay, so this is a really nice thick seedling base right here. So we're going to go in and remove all the other ones. And we're left with this one. Take our tongs, lift it out, and we'll just get it potted up. Perfect. All right, let's go do the rest of them. Okay guys, so now we're going to start our tomatoes, zinnias, and sunflowers from seeds. I've got 6 different varieties of tomatoes, 2 different varieties of zinnias, and 1 dwarf variety of sunflowers. So a few of these tomato varieties I have grown before and I really enjoy them. A few of them are new to me. I don't have any experience with them. So I will just keep you guys posted on their progress, and when we harvest them, we'll try them and see how they are. So I've got pineapple tomatoes here. These are a beautiful yellow and reddish pink fleshy beefsteak type tomato. These are delicious. I love them. And I really like when seed packets put all of the instructions and everything on the back of them. A little bit about the variety, the planting instructions, expiration dates. I like that really a lot. Then we've got Moscovich, which is an heirloom tomato, and I've never grown this variety before, so this is definitely one where we're going to have to just keep an eye on it and see how it progresses. Another one is Sunrise Bumblebee. I thought it looked really interesting online, so I figured let's try it out. And like I said, some of these I've grown before and some of these never had any experience. Harvest Moon, I've never had any, I don't have any experience with this one, but I'm excited to try this one out too. Brandywine is your standard heirloom beefsteak tomato. I've grown these many, many, many years and they are delicious. They are big, beefy, juicy, sweet tomatoes. I absolutely love them. They're a good slicing tomato too. And all of the instructions and everything you need right on the back of the seed packet. Thank you very much, Johnny's. And then San Marzano, another heirloom tomato. This is a really good one for sauce. I think this one is a good one for making sauces too, but you can also just slice them up and throw them in salads or on a burger. They're fine. And then over here we've got our 2 different varieties of zinnias. We've got our giant cactus and state fair. And then this is the little sunspot dwarf sunflowers. These get about 3 feet tall, and I'm gonna just dot these all over the gardens. I think it's going to be really pretty. So all these varieties require a seed depth of 1/4 of an inch. So we'll prep our soil. We'll get these planted 1/4 of an inch deep. I will put a humidity dome on them, and then we'll put them inside under the grow lights on a heat mat until they germinate. I've got my leftover potting soil, and I'm just going to mix I'm going to mix in our seed starter mix with that just so I can use it all up. I've got an extra bag in case we need it. And I'm going to reuse one of the 24 count seed trays that we just cleared out. I'm not going to worry about cleaning it out. I know a lot of people say you should, but I'm a risk taker. I'm a daredevil. We're going to do it up this way. We're going to plant dirty. I'm going to put the tomatoes in here. I've got 6 different varieties, so I'm going to plant 4 of each because I don't need any more than that. In fact, this is probably too much. I'll end up giving some away. And then for the zinnias and the sunflowers, I'm going to use a 72 count cell tray, fill them all up, and I'm just going to plant 1 seed per cell, and whatever germinates, germinates. All right, guys, here we go. So I'm going to water everything in using Natural. Natural is a biological larvicide. It contains BTI, which is Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. And that is a naturally occurring bacteria found in soil, but the substrain israelensis is used to combat fungus gnats and their larvae. So you mix it all up, you water it in, and if there's any trace of fungus gnats or their larvae, they eat the soil, they ingest the BTI, and it kills them. And anything that prevents fungus gnats for me is great. So I'm going to mix this up and we'll get them watered. So this is Natural, and this is what it looks like inside. It's just a fine granular powder. And I was able to find a retailer online who sold different size quantities because I've only been able to see this on Amazon, and I really don't need a 16-pound tub of it. So I will put a link in the description where I purchased this from if you guys are interested. But I'm going to it takes 1 teaspoon per gallon. This is a 2-gallon pitcher. This is half a teaspoon, so I'm going to add 4 scoops in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll bring it over here and fill it up with water. And now we just water everything in. All right, guys, we got them all watered in. They're all under the grow lights. We've got our tomato seeds over here. Everything will stay here for the next few weeks before we plant them out. These are our zinnias and our sunflowers. They're on a heat mat. And we've got our peppers under this little grow light as well. And that's it for today's project. I'm super, super happy that I was able to get all the seedlings repotted and I was able to get my tomatoes started, because for some reason I kept thinking I was so far behind the game, and I probably am a little bit, but you know what? We had to deal with Shuey and take care of him. And you know what? Sometimes things just have to be pushed back a little bit and you just can't help it. And that's just life. So that's that. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And now let me get Shuey out here so you guys can check him out and take a look at him real quick. Hi, Shoo Shoo. Shoo Shoo, come here. Come here. Say hi to everybody. They're so... Oh, hi, little one. Hold on. Yeah, who's a good boy? You guys, you can see right there. Hold on, Shoo. You can see right there where they shaved him. That's where his incision is. And it's all growing back. And he's doing really, really well. Come on, Shoo. Let's go. You can see. Hi. Let's go. He's ready to go for a walk. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.